Solicitation of potential clients. So basically, you're not supposed to be soliciting other people's clients. If you know they're in a written service agreement or you know that they're on the MLS system, you're not supposed to use the MLS system data to recruit them. Or if you know that they're in a contract, you're not supposed to be doing that. This isn't new. I believe the only difference here is it's kind of added buyers to the equation. Advertising for potential clients. Every time you are sending a mailer out, this isn't new, you have to have a disclaimer on there that says that you're not intending to solicit or induce breach of an existing agreement. Okay, so any kind of advertisement that you send out door to door, however you do that, it has to be on there. And you're doing a general distribution in a neighborhood. I mean, if you're directing it specifically to people that you have an existing relationship with or that you've had, but you should have a disclaimer on everything. It's just one little line. It just saves you a whole bunch. If there's an issue where somebody doesn't include a disclaimer in their advertising or in their mailouts, and that consumer ends up canceling or breaching their existing agreement to work with you, then that constitutes a breach under the new rules. So please just include a disclaimer and then you're pretty much covered. And obviously if you're walking a neighborhood and you see a sign on a lawn, you ought not leave something at that door because you're targeting. If it's a third party, so they're mailed out or it's a general distribution or anything like that, that's fine. But if you're a licensee and you are walking a neighborhood and door knocking or doing something like that and you see a sign on the lawn, then you shouldn't be approaching them. Solicitation of contracts. So suggestion for buyers to view properties with other members. This is a very common concern in rural areas. I know it's been a discussion at our professional standards committee level as well. Ultimately, you are in a written service agreement with your buyer because it's mandatory now, assuming that you're working with them as a client. So you have an obligation to represent their interests, which means you should probably be showing them the properties that you're going to potentially write an offer on and not sending them out to somebody else to see the property and then come back and write the offer. I mean, obviously, they're in a written service agreement. You're supposed to look after them. And so what was happening in these scenarios where people were sending them out to, I'm just going to use a community, just say Lac St. Anne, they were sending them out to Lac St. Anne and saying, just go look at some properties with Leanne and then come back and we'll write an offer. Well, obviously Leanne's going to try to help them as best as she can because she's working in the interest of her seller, but they're not really working in the interest of their clients. So you can't really tell them to go there and come back and write an offer. You're actually breaching your agreement or not representing them. It's also now a rule. Open house is completely different. It's not an open house is a completely different scenario. Obviously, if they end up enjoying it or thinking it's a great thing, maybe go back and look there.